I remember watching this match live for the first time on pay-per-view WrestleMania 20. I was in high school and blissfully unaware of the dirt sheets and behind-the-scenes gossip that I'm bombarded with on my Google feed every second of every day today. I was just a naive wrestling fan excited about this dream match, and it was a dream match. On paper, this felt can't miss. Throw in Austin as special guest referee just to get as close to Austin versus Goldberg as we'd ever get, and ooh, you've got a match that could steal the show. But it did miss. Oh boy, did it miss. Both Brock and Goldberg were both on their way out of the company, and this dream match would turn into a nightmare No, that's too cliche. This dream match would turn into a piece of shit match. Join me as I take a look at the build, the match, and the fallout of one of the most disappointing rivalries in wrestling history. This is the Box of Wrestling review of Brock Lesnar vs. Goldberg, WrestleMania 20. It all starts way back at Survivor Series 2003. Hey, I was there. It's Team Angle versus Team Lesnar in the opening match. Benoit, on his way to winning the Royal Rumble in a few months, makes Brock Lesnar tap out to the crossface. So Lesnar's team lost, but like any great leader, he blames the rest of the team. He says line up anybody in the freaking world and he'll beat them. Why? Because he's the WWF champion. Right on cue, enter World Heavyweight Champion Bill Goldberg. He asks Lesnar if he'd like to wish him luck in his match tonight. Lesnar doesn't say anything and looks like a little bitch.
Then for a long time, nothing happened.
Triple H beats Goldberg at Armageddon. Then we get to the Royal Rumble. Goldberg entering number 30. Fun fact, kids, at this time, number 30 had never actually won the Royal Rumble, and wouldn't tonight. So it's been over 2 months since Goldberg interrupted Brock at Survivor Series, but I guess Brock's the type to hold grudges because he interrupts Goldberg. A little tit for tat. Lesnar states the obvious, that he still holds his title, whereas Goldberg doesn't.
The classy thing to do would be not to call attention to it.
Goldberg does that, hey, look over there trick that people play on small children, pretending to see hardcore Holly standing behind Lesnar. Lesnar had defeated Holly earlier that night, but for some reason he looks. Once again, Lesnar looks like a little bittle bitch. You know, I have to say, Goldberg, you're the babyface, but you're kind of being a bully, and you did start all of this. Maybe if you apologize now, we can end this before things get out of crap, too late. Yes, Goldberg spears a bunch of dudes and gives Charlie Haas an atomic wedgie so devastating he's lifted out of the ring and eliminated. But then Lesnar shows up and F5s Goldberg. Angle uses the distraction to toss him out. Now, Goldberg is in a bit of a predicament. You see, he's a Raw guy and Lesnar's a SmackDown guy, and much like Romeo and Juliet, the two men are forbidden from being together. But Sheriff Austin has a sneaky plan. No Way Out in San Francisco is going to be a SmackDown-only pay-per-view with Brock Lesnar defending his title against Latino Heat Eddie Guerrero. Austin says he has a friend in San Francisco. Alright, this story already sounds highly suspicious. Stone Cold doesn't have any friends. His alleged friend gave him a front row ticket to No Way Out. I also really like the idea that Austin can't score his own tickets to No Way Out. Austin is too busy to go, and he wants his good pal Goldberg to have his ticket. It may seem weird that Austin is helping Goldberg, but I buy it. Austin is the sheriff of Raw, whatever that means, but this is Austin watching out for his Raw guys, which I think fits the brand wars thing the WWE had been heavy on in those days. Before Goldberg takes his ticket, Austin says, "Don't do anything I wouldn't do." Love it. The next week, Vince McMahon comes out to warn Goldberg not to use his ticket to No Way Out and ruin the show. Stone Cold soon appears, and look at the parking skills with that ATV. That's a stylish way to enter the ring. Sheriff Austin informs Vince that he's breaking 2 of Austin's laws. Number 1, he's in the ring, and he doesn't belong in his ring. Number 2, well, I'll let him tell it.
You're pissing me off.
Vince invites the general manager of SmackDown out, Paul Heyman. Ooh. He then warns that if Goldberg interferes, people won't be saying who's next, they'll be saying who's Goldberg. I like that. So he gets speared. But then Goldberg has a little poopy pants accident when he tries to spear Vince, but instead hits Stone Cold. Ruh-roh. Later, Goldberg pats him on the back and says he's not going to apologize, but the spear was a mistake. Wait, why can't he apologize? I guess apologizing for a mistake that literally hurt someone is just too beta cuck for Goldberg. He gives Austin the old, "we cool, bro?" But I don't think they are cool, because Austin assures Goldberg that if he's gonna stunner him, it won't be on accident. You know, Goldberg, maybe if you just apologize to Stone... never mind. Meanwhile, Vince whines to Bischoff that Goldberg tried to spear him, and he suspends Goldberg indefinitely. This is gonna be important. So, No Way Out and Goldberg shows up. About a third of the way through the show. He missed Rikishi and Scotty 2 Hotty versus the Basham brothers. No wonder he got there so late. Michael Cole says that he doesn't agree with Stone Cold giving Goldberg a ticket, but they can't take away his right as a fan. Okay, so apparently McDonald's has the right to refuse service to anyone, but not SmackDown. As soon as Goldberg sits his ass down, Heyman comes out to yell at him. He's still selling the spear and tells us that this is his first pay-per-view as SmackDown GM and nothing is going to ruin it. Heyman says he won't hesitate to have Goldberg arrested if he tries anything. Lesnar comes out and does something pretty smart. He calls out Goldberg now, despite Heyman's protests. And this actually makes sense, because if he deals with Goldberg now, he can get him kicked out of the arena and not have to worry about him during his match. Intelligence. They both strip down while Heyman pleads for sanity. Lesnar sets up for an F5. Nope, it's a jackhammer. Paul Heyman calls security. Only 4 of them? Luckily for them, Goldberg goes willingly. Later that night, it's Brock Lesnar versus Eddie Guerrero for the WWE title. Now remember, I didn't even know the dirt sheets existed, and I gave Eddie Guerrero no chance in hell to win in this match. Yes, of course I figured Goldberg would get involved in some way, but I think years of watching Triple H's Reign of Terror on Raw had me conditioned to believe that none of that would matter. Eddie eats shit on a frog splash, and Brock capitalizes with an F5. But the ref gets knocked in the head. Brock grabs that title belt and is thinking of doing a little line cheating and stealing himself. Boom! Goldberg has escaped those security guards, and here's a spear out of nowhere. I told you they should have sent more than 4 guys. Eddie hooks the leg. 1, 2, and a kick out. He picks up the belt and stalks Lesnar, but Lesnar ducks and counters with an F5. No! But, no, it's a DDT and Brock's head lands on the belt and it's a frog splash, and look at the crowd freaking out in 1, 2, 3. Holy hell yes! Oh my gosh, I love this so much. So yes, folks, that's the great story of how Eddie Guerrero won the WWE title. This was a great episode. I'm glad I did this. Wait, what's that? We're talking about Lesnar versus Goldberg? Ah, crap. So the build has been nice so far, but this is where things start to fall apart. Goldberg just stops appearing on Raw because in storyline he's suspended for trying to spear Vince McMahon. I assume the real reason is that Goldberg was leaving the company soon and had already fulfilled all of the appearances on his contract. It's the only explanation I can come up with for why Goldberg basically disappears for the rest of this build. On the following SmackDown, Lesnar gives one of the most unintentionally funny promos ever. But was it supposed to be funny? It's definitely supposed to be annoying. He does this weird sad boy gimmick that he's never done before or since.
Because of you, Bill, I can't sleep at night.
Then he begs Vince McMahon to give him a match with Goldberg at WrestleMania. No, I mean he really begs him. He's talking to Vince, so why is he looking up at the ceiling and why is he taking a shit? I don't know what Lesnar was going for here, but I don't think this was it. So back to Raw, where Vince officially schedules Goldberg versus Lesnar at WrestleMania 20. Goldberg's still suspended. He should just buy a front row ticket every week. That's apparently foolproof. Sheriff Austin comes out and he wants to be the special guest referee. Vince decides this match will be so dangerous, so destructive.
You're a liar! You're a liar!
Only the rattlesnake will be able to control it. Vince wants to know why Austin wants to referee the match anyway, and Austin says he has his reasons. Vince blames Raw GM Eric Bischoff for Goldberg trying to spear him, and then showing up at No Way Out. He schedules a match with him and makes Austin the referee to practice. The match is awful, but that's not what matters. What matters is that Brock Lesnar shows up and F5s Austin from behind. The following SmackDown, Lesnar says he did it to get revenge for Austin, giving Goldberg the No Way Out ticket. If Austin has a problem with that, both he and Goldberg will feel the pain at WrestleMania. Back to Raw, and Sheriff Austin comes out and interrupts a La Resistance protest. Austin's pissed at Lesnar for F5ing him, and he says he hasn't forgotten about that spear he got 3 weeks ago. He says he fears no spear like he fears no beer. I don't know about that line. My review of that line, 4 out of 10. To summarize, he's equally mad at Lesnar and Goldberg, and therefore is going to call it down the middle at WrestleMania. Was it really necessary to humiliate La Resistance just to announce you're not going to cheat? Vince McMahon comes out and accuses Austin of being a bad referee. This is really just an excuse for Austin to try to run down Vince with his ATV, and it's pretty great stuff, though it does nothing to progress the Goldberg-Lesnar storyline. At one point, Austin drives on top of Vince's limo, and I've got to hand it to Austin for his control on that thing. The glass breaks on SmackDown, but it's not Austin on the ATV, it's Brock Lesnar. He evidently stole Austin's ATV, which kind of seems like a big deal. I actually went back to the previous Raw to see if I'd missed anything, but nope, they just didn't show Lesnar stealing Austin's ride. Brock looks really happy on that ATV. Lesnar defeats Hardcore Holly again with an F5 out of nowhere, then celebrates with a few beers, then almost crashes into the lights. Don't drink and drive, kids. We go to next week, and it's the final SmackDown before WrestleMania 20. Austin is set to arrive to get back his ATV, while Paul Heyman rallies the troops. SmackDown puts food on your table, and Austin is going to ruin everything and take food from your family, Big Show, and your family, Tajiri, and your family, Nunzio. Lesnar and Heyman come out to the ring, and Heyman summons the vast majority of the SmackDown locker room. But when Austin appears, we get a Napoleon-like moment where the SmackDown wrestlers step aside one by one out of respect for the rattlesnake. You know, when Napoleon returns from Elba. Read a book. Heyman gets stunned, they tease an F5, they tease a stunner on Lesnar, then Lesnar gets out of there. I think Austin forgot Heyman was there. He almost ran his ass over. The build for this was a tale of two halves. The first half is great, but things really fall apart after No Way Out when Goldberg completely disappears. The stuff with Lesnar and Austin is fun, but it doesn't really hype Goldberg versus Lesnar. JR tells us this match will likely resemble a street fight.
You're a liar!
So, right off the bat, I want to say that Goldberg and Lesnar both get good pops when they come out. People chant Goldberg like always, and everything seems fine. My point is that fans don't immediately reject these two just because they're both about to leave the company. Lesnar and Goldberg had the audience, and they lost the audience. We do get a very loud "you sold out" chant, but in my view, this is because Lesnar and Goldberg just stand there for a very long time and the crowd gets bored. Like, there's certainly a time and a place for the long stare down, but the fans were clearly not into it, and Austin is signaling for them to start, and they just will not start. So the fans sing "Hey Goodbye." Even the announcers make comments that they just don't understand why Lesnar and Brock are so reluctant to fight. Finally, they lock up, and nothing happens. So the fans boo. Finally, they lock up again, and nothing happens again. So the fans chant "this match sucks," and they are right. Finally, they collide, and you're thinking, okay, this match is gonna get going, and they just kind of lay around for a while. Finally, mercifully, we get a military press from Goldberg, and the crowd pops. He goes for a spear, and the crowd pops. Lesnar gets out of the way, and the crowd is being won over. At this point, I don't think it's too late to have a good match. So things seem to finally get going, and they do a rest hold. Why do they need to rest? And it is a long rest hold. You can see all the fans paying attention to something in the crowd. So uninterested are they with the action in the ring. I think this rest hold is really where the point of no return is reached. There's no saving this match now. The fans pay attention long enough to boo and chant "this match sucks" again. Goldberg hits the spear, and there is very little reaction when Lesnar kicks out. Lesnar hits the F5, and we get a kick out, and again, the crowd doesn't really seem to care. I think they're realizing this match is winding down, and it never really got started. Lesnar goes for the spear. Okay, that's kind of fun. Goldberg gets out of the way, and spear, jackhammer, and the crowd loudly boos when Goldberg sets up for that jackhammer. And the guy who hasn't been on TV for a month pins Lesnar for the win. So, the match sucked, clearly, but storytelling-wise, it also sucked. Austin was just as docile as Lesnar and Goldberg. Honestly, he should have stunned Lesnar's ass before the match even started, then stunned Goldberg for the hell of it, then rang the bell and called the match down the middle from there. After all that crap Lesnar put him through, it's out of character for Austin to just let it slide. He didn't do anything during the match. After the match, Lesnar gives Austin the finger, so Austin stuns him. Then he celebrates with Goldberg over some beers, and the fans boo, so he stuns Goldberg too. The match didn't just suck because it was disappointing. It sucked because it was a straight up terrible match. And after that, they both did leave the company. Goldberg says he didn't like the backstage politics. Triple H. And Lesnar said his body was beat up and he didn't want to do the schedule anymore. That explains why he did something that's really forgiving on the body. He joined the NFL. Eventually, these two rejoined the company, and eventually they had a better match together. Hey, thanks for watching. This was my first match review, so let me know what you thought in the comments.